I came across this quote that's the perfect inspiration for the week. It comes from this book by Allan de Botton, Art as Therapy. We describe a work of art which might include a family photograph as successful when it manages to foreground the elements that are valuable but hard to hold on to. We might say that a good work of art pins down the core of significance, while its bad counterpart, although undeniably reminding us of something, lets an essence slip away. It's an empty souvenir. Right, it's like, I'm sure each one of us can remember a conversation that was really poignant, and maybe it came at like a really critical time in our life, but its effect is that it's lasted with us all this time, maybe decades. And there was something about it that got at the real core essence of where we were or what we needed to hear. Seems like that's the same thing. And that's what I love about good art principles is we'll talk a lot about them in the coming months, but any really good art principle is really a life principle, right? The lessons can be applied to life. I think that's what for me has made the artistic journey so much deeper over the years. Is at first it was just about learning techniques, and the deeper we go, it's more about learning how to live. So that's kind of amazing. But not to get too serious. Right, and look, I mean, I love this idea, whereas its bad counterpart, although undeniably reminding us of something, lets an essence slip away. It's an empty souvenir, a missed opportunity. That's the thing that strikes me, because we've also had those conversations where maybe we're hoping for something a little deeper, and it just skipped across the surface. And that feels more like, rather than an empty souvenir, more like a missed opportunity. Interestingly, this is really coming up because in April, I'm having a show with a very dear friend, and as I'm beginning to do the painting, some of which are behind me, this question really comes to mind. Like, am I just painting empty souvenirs for people? Or am I really trying to do something that has real meaning? And the likelihood is if it means something to me, maybe it will also speak to other people. So that's the thing. And it's like, I went through a few different sort of ideas. Each one felt a little hollow until I found this current series. We'll talk more about that in the coming weeks. However, what's interesting is he then goes on to describe this painting by Vermeer. He describes how this painting is really a beautiful example of the point he just made. But we'll talk about that in the next video. But look, for this week, that's an interesting question for us to ask ourselves. It's like, is the work I'm doing, are the things that I'm focused on, are they foregrounding the elements that are valuable in life for ourselves, for our work, for our community, whatever? Right, that's a nice idea, And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. I always have a bit of an emotional hangover whenever I make these things, but it's interesting to hear some feedback. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.